What up, YouTube? Where to even start? So I don't know. I can't speak from experience. What the East Coast is like. Other than what I've seen on YouTube, that's about it. But I guess there's no structure as far as the whites don't stick together, protect each other. Yeah, I don't really know how that works, how people, basically, stay safe. But I do know how California works. For anybody that's facing a charge or curious about California's prison system, you're kind of forced into okay, so I went in as white. You can see my skin color. It's clearly white. Basically, it's like you go in, you tell the cops, you're white. They are going to ask you, you go in booking, they're going to ask you, basically, what are you? What race you are. They're going to sell you up with the white guy. Basically, you can have fights one-on-one with the white guy, and that's it. If you see a white guy in a fight with a black man or Hispanic or any other race, you got to jump in and help that white man. And if you don't, you become a victim. And that's basically the way it is. Everybody knows it. Everybody, if there's drama on the yard, you go out there and and you hope everything's squashed so you don't go to the hole. And a lot of times it will be. Riots do happen out here a lot, but more often than not, it's going to be a dead issue. Everybody groups up on the yard, and the shot caller is going to go and talk it out and try to resolve the issue peacefully. I keep seeing comments I guess a lot of people think that you get raped in prison. Like I said, I can't account for other states, and I cannot account for protective custody. I guess what they call now S&Y. We still call PC piece of shit. But yeah, that don't happen in prison in California. Homosexuality is frowned upon by the whites, and I'm only speaking for the white car. Well, it doesn't happen in any other race on mainline in California, but a lot of the stuff I talk about pertains to what I know, the rules and regulations I know for, being a white man. You're gonna go in there, depending on the yard, you can't even talk to black guys other than business, or norteños other than business. You definitely can't eat after them or smoke with them or play any games, handball, dominoes, anything like that. Only with Serranos, whites, Indians, and you can mess with Hispanics. You can, You can't eat after Pisces. That is true. But you can't do any of that with blacks, aka others, which is like, your islanders, Hawaiians, Asians, and like Arabs, and they all go in as other. And you can't do that with no northerners either. I guess because they all clicked up together at one point or another, whatever. The whites have had beef with norteños and blacks, so, or whatever the history is. So, like, you're pretty protected. Like, other races are, usually not going to disrespect you or even really talk to you unless you're on, a soft, like, level 2 or level 1. You get away with it with, hanging out with other races. Like, I was at San Quentin before it became PC in 2018, became PC, and like, I was able to talk to whoever I wanted to. Some people didn't like it, but hey, my paperwork is good. I'm programming the right way, follow all the rules, and so, it was pretty chill back there most of the time. And there's always somebody, even if you're on their radar, the whites' radar over something like minuscule, you can still, still be all right. There's plenty of other people that, get removed, and it takes 2 white men to remove 1. So, there's sex offenders come on the yard. They're the first to go. Off top, they're the first ones. And your snitches and, people doing drugs and doing too much. People getting into debt, drug debts, things like that. Just don't start doing drugs, getting into debt. Get a TV, CD player, few people, small circle. And just keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and watch other people's mistakes and learn from their mistakes so they don't become your own. And just kind of, stay on your rack probably like at least 50% of the time and watch TV. You don't gotta be super wood and prove yourself and volunteer to do removals and all that. I never volunteered for none of that. Nobody asked me to. Seen a couple riots. That's about it. When they say get your boots on, just go to the yard. Never tell on nobody. And you'll be all right, man. I mean, people in prison doing years, but a lot of them going home in less than 10 years. So, everyone wants to go home. And that should be your main goal, man. Try to learn something, get an education or a trade. Because all that extra like prison is cool and gonna run around and politic and be a part of that. It's a lie, man. It's thinking you're gonna get respect and glory, and you know I guarantee you none of those dudes are gonna feed you when you get on the street, or you know help you out in a bind, or any of that. Those people are not your friends. They're criminals. uh not everybody in prison is guilty by far, and even some of the criminals are even really good dudes. But at the same time, once you're gone from there, or once they're gone from wherever you're at, they're gonna forget all about you. And for all the youngsters, watching this to get hyped up, it's all BS. Um, you know, I can't help but think, I can't help but think about that movie. What was it called? The one where the white dude stomps that fool's face into the curb and goes to prison for 3 years and gets raped, comes out and says, yeah, all this racism is bullshit, and I'm getting you, I'm getting my brother and my girl, and we're getting the hell out of here. His situation was like he was a racist, and basically the other whites were like doing drug deals with other races, and he didn't like that, and he said something, and I guess the whites felt disrespected and raped him. And so he had a change of heart about being racist or whatever. And so I'm not even speaking on racism. I'm against racism, but hey, it is what it is. I guess you got freedom of speech. It's America, I guess. But the whole prison, like, yeah, we're woods, and some of it I get, I get why you're forced to protect the whites, because if it wasn't like that, it would be all bad for us in there. I get that. I even get some of their rules and why they do it. Some of their other rules I kind of don't agree with, but it is what it is. I'm gonna say one thing. If the whites don't like you, even if, I don't know, like, I was pretty much left alone. I followed the rules and whatnot. But I will say this, and I got my hustle on, man. I sold buddy bars and cream pies and radios and padlocks and all kinds of stuff. And I stayed fed. But, you know, and, and, I even was talking to some of the whites on a daily basis even. But I gotta say this, like, I fed myself. Like, motherfuckers weren't like, hey, you wanna get in on the spread? I wasn't really asking. Like I said, I kept my circle extremely small for a reason. And I made it. I got no holes poked in me, made it through mainline. I did 5 years in the county fighting a murder charge, and 5 years in the pen after I pled to manslaughter. And got in a couple fights, but you know, that's gonna happen. You're gonna fight somebody in there, but you know, chances are you'll be on a level 1 or 2, probably a level 2, possibly even a 3-yard. If you're a knucklehead and you're getting a bunch of write-ups all the time, you're definitely going to be on a 3-yard, maybe even a 4-yard. And so the higher yard, the higher security it's going to be. But you will survive. But I'm going to say this, man. For people that are going or curious about it, prison gay. You're basically living with a bunch of dudes that tell you how to run your life, and then the police tell you how to run your life, and you're living day in and day out eating crap. Like, the food is horrible. I remember people would always tell me in jail, like, yeah, the food in prison's way better than it is in county, and you know, budget cuts mean that the food has went way downhill. Like, it's rare you'll even get a salad that even is is even fresh. Some of this meat tastes like it's from the geese and pigeon on the yard, man. For 10 years, I look forward to a top ramen every night. Think about that.